In today's video I'm playing through all of Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. I played a lot of the original one back in the good old Wii U days, and this one sets out to tell the story of the imprisoning war from Tears of the Kingdom. So you know what, let's check it out. It started with me playing as Zelda, and I was actually really surprised by how nice the game looked. Zelda had been sent back in time after nosing around the Hyrule Castle dungeons, and she'd been found by Rauru and Sonia, who were this era's king and queen of Hyrule. I don't know how this bloke turned into this goat by the way, but you know what, let's move on. Not too long after that, there was a bit of a commotion as these red demon looking things called shades started attacking them. Rauru handed Zelda this little staff looking thing, which she could channel her light power through to fight the enemies. This was my first bit of proper gameplay, and it was really fun. If you haven't played a Warriors game before, the main gameplay is basically just about defeating hundreds of enemies. Here I also got to try out some of these werehog looking combos that were shown on the screen, and I really liked the one where she sent out these mystical golden orbs at the enemies. That was fun. They then headed to Hyrule Castle and man, what is that? They definitely improved on the design in the future. This looks like the type of base I'd build in Minecraft and call a castle. Zelda then got kitted out in this new outfit by Lunalia, her lady in waiting. And by the way, you can buy the earrings she wears. I don't know why I know that, but there you go. I like Lunalia. She reminds me of the human characters in Twilight Princess. Zelda was looking for a way to get home, so she went to meet up with Raru's sister, Minoru, who was also just an Animal Crossing by the way. And they found a bit of a common interest in technology. And I actually got to play as Minoru during this mission where they explored the depths of Hyrule, and she's definitely one of the funnest characters to play as. All of her Zonai devices she uses are really cool. This game has a mechanic where you can counter certain attacks from enemies if you use the right type of skill. For example, I could use this pinball looking move as Minoru when the enemy was charging at me to counter it. I also like her and Zelda's Sync Strike, which are basically team up moves, where Zelda climbs onto this giant Zonai device and just bombards enemies. Rauru and Zelda's Sync Strike is also pretty cool. Rauru activates his Doctor Strange third eye, and they both just shoot these laser beams at the enemies. In this level, I also unlocked the ability to use Zonai devices. There's different types of them, and they actually quite surprised me by how fun they were to use. When they showed them in the trailers, I thought they looked like a bit of a gimmick, but I ended up really enjoying using them. Being able to set them down while attacking an enemy is a lot of fun. Anyway, back to the story, because believe it or not, Ganondorf is up to no freaking good. Going into this game, I was actually quite excited to see more of Tears of the Kingdom's Ganondorf, since he kinda didn't do much in that game, apart from looking really funny while he was laughing. Like what could possibly make him this happy? Oh wait, well we'll get to that, but anyway, after staging a Gerudo attack on Hyrule Castle, Ganondorf was like, Rauru, that attack wasn't me, I sorted those traitors out, let's be bros dude. For some reason Rauru was like, this guy's freaking cool, I'm gonna trust him.
Bro, I knew I liked you dude, come here, bring it in.
So yeah, Ganondorf basically betrayed that group of Gerudo who he sent out to attack Hyrule Castle. Just before his minions took them out, this Korok, alongside this mysterious Zonai construct, decided to help them out. And this construct looked kind of familiar, and playing as him was a lot of fun. He's got some cool moves. I liked using the rocket Zonai devices to just launch myself into enemies, and I remember the theories about this character going crazy before the game came out. Like, could this be Link from Skyward Sword? Could this be Fi? Could this be Pippet? Okay, maybe that one was just me. Anyway, I had to wait a bit before I could find out more about this character. Ganondorf now put his devious plan into action, and after baiting Rauru away from Hyrule Castle, he somehow snuck in and ended up killing Sonia, and stole her, well, her secret stone. Why did they call them secret stones, by the way? Even a name like Shiny Pebble would have been better. What was cool was that I got to see what Rauru was up to during all of that, and he was fighting for his life against this evil looking red-haired construct. This was a little mini boss, and this was definitely the toughest fight in the game yet. I was going through all of my healing items, and I was starting to wonder if I was actually going to be able to defeat him. Thankfully though, he buggered off after I took out about 3/4 of his health. With Sonia's secret stone, Ganondorf transformed himself into the Demon King, and basically took over almost all of Hyrule. And as Zelda and everyone were trying to retreat, for a bit of fun, Ganondorf sent out these horrible archfiends to get them. And just as one of these weird looking creatures was about to attack, the mysterious Link looking construct from before turns out to be a transformer, and turns into this plane and flies off to help them. And if that wasn't shocking enough, the gameplay then turned into like a shooter, and I was playing as the construct in the sky defeating enemies. I really didn't expect this. I got to fight this Gleeok in the sky, and after landing, I got to play as the construct's Korok friend, Kalamo. And he's kinda fun to play as. He's got all of these different little goodies in his bag that he can throw at enemies. With the construct's help, Zelda and everyone managed to escape into this temple, and this is where it felt like the game truly started, even though I'd been playing for a few hours already. The main map had now turned all red, and I could slowly free regions from Ganondorf's control. The next bit of the game focused on the 4 sages that were briefly shown in Tears of the Kingdom. The Rito sage was called Rafika, and he teamed up with Kalamo and the mysterious construct to protect Rito village from Ganondorf's forces. And playing as Rafika was pretty fun. He uses a bow as his main weapon, mountain, and I like being able to fly around as him. The next sage that I met was Kia, who was the newly appointed leader of the Zora after another one of Ganondorf's monsters killed her father, and she was definitely the funnest one to play as. She's got a lot of water attacks that were really useful during this level, as there was loads of mud around. Her and Zelda's Sync Strike was also cool, as Zelda could shoot these water blobs she made with a bow of light to make them explode. Using the fire hydrant Zonai device was also really useful during this level, as it took all of the mud off of enemies like this Hinox. At the end of the level, I got to fight the monster that killed Kia's dad and polluted the whole area with mud, and it ended up being one of Ganondorf's archfiends. The fight against it wasn't really that difficult. I don't know how it managed to kill the Zora King, but to be fair, if it was anything like the one in Ocarina of Time, then he probably didn't stand much of a chance. The level ended with Rauru gaining the trust of the Zora, and Kia promised to help him defeat the Demon King. Rauru then headed to Death Mountain to help the Gorons, as they were having some Ganondorf related trouble as well, and I really liked rolling around as Agriston, who was the leader of the Gorons. I slowly made my way up the mountain, and at the summit, I fought this Fire Lynel. It didn't stand a chance against Agriston's pure Goron power though, and after I defeated it, Agriston also promised to give Rauru a helping hand in taking down Ganondorf. After that, a monster that had red hair was spotted going into Great Hyrule Forest, where all of the Koroks live, and to be honest, that description really wasn't that useful. Like, bro, all of these guys have red hair. Anyway, Zelda and our 3 new allies headed to the forest to defeat whichever one it was. The Lost Woods was an area that had some frame rate issues in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and so it's kind of crazy seeing the game run well here, even with all of the enemies that were around. I also really like the hidden little passageways that I could go through in this level. It definitely suits the theme of the Lost Woods. The red-haired monster here turned out to be the archfiend Grimgara, the same one that our friendly construct fought earlier, and I want to say that it was fully defeated this time, but nah, these archfiends were a bit of a pain. They just kept coming back.
I always come back.
While all of that was happening, a Gerudo warrior from the group that Ganondorf had betrayed was asking for Raru's help, as Ganondorf was even attacking his own people. Like, this guy just got it out for everyone. She went behind her leader Ardi's back to ask for his help, and Rauru agreed to meet with her. Ardi was a bit miffed at first that one of the warriors had asked Hyrule for help, but I think she did end up appreciating it. And during this mission, I got to try out playing as her, and I had to destroy these Gibdo hives that were spawning in loads of enemies. Thankfully though, Ardi has the ability to destroy these in a single electric strike. Calamo and the mysterious construct were also here during this level, and her sync strike with the construct is really cool. She uses this lightning blast to charge all of his Zonai devices up. After that mission, Rauru gave Ardi this envoy mask, as a sign of trust and friendship between Hyrule and the Gerudo. Zelda also got chatting a bit with Calamo, and he told her how he found his construct companion, and after taking a closer look at the construct, Zelda realised that he was being powered by a shard of the Master Sword that broke off when Link was fighting Ganondorf. Also, Calamo really wanted a reward for helping out. You see, as a Korok, he wanted somewhere to put down roots and basically just become a tree. I don't know why he wanted to do that so much, like, what can he even do as a tree? But he decided instead of asking for something just for himself, he wanted to help the construct out a bit. So he asked Rauru to knight them, and they got these sick new scarves, and the mysterious construct was renamed to the Knight Construct. Right after that, the evil looking construct from before showed up again. Like, it's crazy, this thing really won't let us be happy for a single moment. This time though, I did have to fully beat it, and I just spammed the bombard button during the sync strike and hoped that it would defeat it. Once I defeated it, it got up and just flew away. I think it had had enough of Calamo's little bag of delights. Anyway, we now had an alliance with the other 4 main regions of Hyrule, and Rauru decided to give each of their leaders a secret stone. These gave all of them new abilities that basically powered them up a bit, and gave them each one more skill. These 4 characters are great additions to the roster. There are a few other characters you can unlock, but to be honest, they're really just not that memorable. Like, a lot of the time it's just a random NPC that you were briefly introduced to in the story. It's funny because there's missions you can do, and some of them want you to play as some of these characters. It'll say something like defeat 200 bokoblins as Vents, but it's like, who even is that? I'd unlocked him and I couldn't even remember who he was. The character roster is probably the most disappointing aspect about this game. Like, you can't even play as Ganondorf, man, what the hell? I know it wouldn't really make much sense to play as him story-wise, but they could have worked it out. Having a mission be from Ganondorf's perspective would actually be really cool, at least in my opinion. I suppose he could always be in a DLC in the future though. At this point in the game, I was still completing every mission that appeared on the map, but they were starting to get a little bit repetitive. So at one point, when loads of new levels popped up on the map, I thought to myself, you know what? I'm done. I'm just going to stick to playing through the main story levels. Don't get me wrong, the gameplay's good, but I would have liked it if the side missions had a bit more variety to them. Anyway, to finally defeat the Demon King, Rauru came up with this plan of essentially luring Ganondorf away from his army by pretending to retreat down into the depths below Hyrule Castle. Kia didn't like the idea of running away, but eventually, they all agreed to go with the plan. To get to Hyrule Castle, they used Naruto's Arc, which was pretty cool.
Everyone on the arc now!
but look who appeared. Grimgera really didn't know when to quit. Also, I find the line Kia says after defeating it pretty funny.
It feels strange, cutting down the same enemy twice.
Like, does she not know what game she's in right now? The arc just about got everyone to Hyrule Castle, where they came face to face with Ganondorf. The Night Construct immediately attacked him, but Rauru stuck to the plan and ordered everyone to retreat, which made Ganondorf lol. Both Night Construct and Calamo stuck around the Hyrule Field area to fight the Demon King's army, while Rauru, Zelda, and the other sages entered the depths, where they planned to fight Ganondorf. Another one of Ganondorf's archfiends showed up, and this one was such a sore loser. After I defeated it, it threw a tree branch at Calamo, but just as it was about to hit him, the Night Construct took the hit instead. That was the end of the level, and this was so sad, man. I thought that was it. He was dead.
21, Fartgon salute!
Anyway, in the next level I finally got to fight Ganondorf, but he somehow snuck some Lynels and other boss monsters in, so I had to fight them lot first. What was cool about this level was the fact that both Zelda's and Raru's skills had much shorter cooldown times, as apparently this was a place of sacred power, so when Ganondorf sent his phantoms in, I just kept spamming Raru's Royal Surge attack, since they were all weak to light attacks. My favourite moment of this level was definitely when all of the Phantom Ganons spawned, and I used the Sync Strike with Zelda as Rauru. They joined hands, sent a giant light blast out, and Sonya appeared behind them while the main Tears of the Kingdom theme played. That was such a hype moment. That was definitely one of my favourite parts of the whole game. After I defeated all of Ganon's phantoms, I got to finally fight the main man himself. I mostly played as Rauru, and again, I just kept using his Royal Surge ability, and this boss fight was really fun. I just wish you could play as this Ganondorf. He's got some really cool attacks. Unfortunately though, it turned out that Ganondorf was just too strong for the sages, and yeah, the level ended with things not looking great for them. I started the next level, and just as the Night Construct's day couldn't get any worse, his #1 hater turns up. Somehow though, he just about mustered up the energy to get up and fight it. This was it though. It was now finally time to fully defeat this thing. It was turned into a spider, it was doing all sorts of things during this fight, and once I dealt enough damage to it, it flew off. So the Night Construct transformed into a plane to go and shoot it down. I really like the scene where the Night Construct slashes at it and just shoves it through an island like what Star-Lord does in Guardians 3. That bit was awesome. Of course though, the Forbidden Construct still wasn't done, and I had to fight him one last time. You could tell this was the true final boss as the health bar just kept going and going and going, it almost went off the screen. I just kept whittling it down, and eventually I managed to defeat him. But then the bloody thing got up again. Though the next scene is really cool. It shows both Rauru and the Night Construct sacrificing themselves to defeat their enemy. Rauru does the classic whooshy finger hold on Ganondorf,
Skadoosh.
while the Night Construct uses the last bit of his energy to create a little Master Sword to defeat the Forbidden Construct. The next bit was actually really sad. Without the shard of the Master Sword powering him, the Night Construct just fell apart, and Calamo decided that at that very spot where his friend fell protecting Hyrule is where he'd finally put down roots. Both Zelda and Minoru came to the agreement that unfortunately any record of the Night Construct existing was to be erased, just in case anyone ever decided to use that technology for their own nefarious desires in the future, which makes sense. Though I'm sure they probably could have used someone like the Night Construct when Calamity Ganon attacked, but oh well. Zelda then hints at her doing what she must to stop Ganondorf, which we see in Tears of the Kingdom, and that was it. The credits rolled. When I went back into the game, loads of new missions appeared on the map, so there's definitely quite a bit of post-game content that I could do, which I'll definitely get around to sometime. And that was my Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment experience, and I had a lot of fun with it, though it's definitely more of a story of the Night Construct in Calamo, rather than the imprisoning war itself. Like nothing else really happened that you couldn't have already guessed by playing Tears of the Kingdom, so I definitely think the inclusion of the Night Construct was a good idea. I'd say I probably still prefer the original Hyrule Warriors though. I definitely need to check out the definitive edition of that game as well, by the way. I guess I just prefer a Hyrule Warriors game being about celebrating loads of games and characters, rather than just one. But I do think this game serves nicely as a little bookend to the wild era of Zelda games, and I'm really looking forward to something brand new and fresh with the Zelda franchise in the future. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Definitely make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.